Good morning. It is Tuesday, November 12th. What a game last night on Monday Night Football. We learned a lot about both teams. We'll break that down in its entirety. The NFL and ESPN put out their power rankings today. Wild top 10. Dalvin Cook joins us in 14 minutes to talk about the Minnesota Vikings success right before he goes into a team meeting at 10:30. Got to get him in, got to get him out. Be a professional, they said. A lot of things happening in our world, also in yours. We can't wait to chat with you for the next 2 hours live from Indianapolis, Indiana. Evan Foxy, play some handsome Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice. I appreciate that. I might be simple-minded, but I will sing oh to that just because of how basic I am. Joining me in our studio here in Indianapolis, Todd McComas is here sitting on the couch. How you doing, Todd?
Good, buddy.
Attaboy. Nick Moraldo, Tone Diggs, Ty Schmidt, Evan Foxy wearing a light pink
salmon, if you will.
Sweatshirt today and crushing it, by the way.
Thank you.
Fresh haircut yesterday from our guy K-New. Took about 2.5 hours to cut Foxy's hair, and it looks damn good, like a Picasso, Rembrandt. You get it. Speaking of Rembrandt, an artist in his own mind, at Viva Lazito. How you doing?
Doing very, very well.
Got a good fun fact today. Can't wait for the world to hear it, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
And on the ones and twos, we got Snow Jay, Jason McAfee in boots. It's a whole new Jay here. Speaking of a whole new Jay, it's a whole new day for the San Francisco 49ers, undefeated no more. Last night, the Seattle Seahawks traveled to Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. Mm-hmm. You talk to the San Franciscans, that's a 2-hour drive from San Francisco. So the Santa Clara / San Francisco 49ers suffered their first loss last night to MVP probable Russell Wilson and Seattle Seahawks. The game went just how we thought it was going to go. Mm-hmm. And I know yesterday we slammed the hammer on the 49ers. And we know that Mark Schlereth made a good case. And any sound brain would say, well, Russell Wilson and his offense are good. Their defense isn't good. For the 49ers, their defense is very good. Their offense is good enough. So the average person, including us, would say, well, the Niners should win that game. I don't know how to say this, but I faded myself in a bet, and I won a lot of money because the Seattle Seahawks won last night. Maybe that's a new thing. When I start betting, if I get cold, go ahead and fade me. No hard feelings. Let's all get rich. Anyways, you would have never known that I was cold, except for the fact that my last 3 hammers have gone awry. So probably a little cold, time to fade me like I did to myself last night on FanDuel and hit big. It was interesting because the game turned so many different ways. Early, I thought the 49ers were going to run away with that thing. I thought it was potentially going to be a 21-zip, 28-zip, just run it up, let's keep it going. But how could you ever count out Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks? How could you ever count out Pete Carroll and the Seahawks? How could you ever count out a team that has last year's Pro Bowl kicker going against a kicker that was just signed on Thursday? Chase McLaughlin had an incredible... Is it McLaughlin? That's how they kept pronouncing it.
Mm-hmm, I think so.
I think it's McLaughlin.
But in my head, I would pronounce that McLaughlin. I don't know. I might be wrong. I'm assuming the people that are professional commentators on his game are right. Incredible game by that kid. 3 out of 4 hits a game, tired to send it to overtime, misses a game winner. That's what you get, though, with somebody that's new to the league. It's going to happen. Those mental type of things, to be consistent for 26 years, by the way, is why it's so impressive that Vinatieri's still in it. The guys that could go for a long time are consistent over the long haul, and the guys that get cold every once in a while end up in a little kicker carousel that just travel around team to team. Chase had a great performance last night, but let's assume if Robbie Gould is in there, that ball's going through the uprights. Now, granted, Robbie's had his own issues this year, and I think it could be in the operation. A lot of spinning balls for the San Francisco 49ers. If I was the kicker, I'd be like, hey, excuse me, can we figure out what the hell's going on here? So I don't hit a top that spins. It looks like a dreidel every time I'm kicking the ball. That's what's happening for the 49ers. I don't know if it's snapper, the holder's location, whatever it is. Great game, though, by all parties involved there. When Russell Wilson gets going and he has that little touch pass in the end zone to a guy whose last name is that Hollister. I think he was trying to throw it to Ty Lockett, but who cares? It's Russell Wilson making a play out of nothing. That interception he threw in overtime, I did not expect Russell Wilson to make that type of play. Same type of throw, by the way, to the same guy, I believe, just overshot a little bit. Then old big boy gets loose on the return there. That's an overtime interception. That's not something that Russell Wilson normally does. Now, granted, that's his second interception of the entire year, but especially in overtime, whenever good things happen, whenever the big-time players make big-time plays, big-time turnover. Then, what is not getting talked about, and I guess it didn't matter because of the turnovers and the missed field goal and the things that happened in overtime, Geno Smith is a weapon at the coin toss. West Virginia's Geno Smith. Yes, the Geno Smith that was drafted to the Jets. The Geno Smith that went to the Bills. The Geno Smith that hasn't panned out as much as everybody had hoped because of how good he was in college. Maybe he hasn't found the right situation. Maybe he hasn't found the right locker room. He did get into an actual fist fight in a locker room as the starting quarterback of a team. Guy broke his jaw. So maybe it was the bad culture he was with because he had a lot of talent. I'm happy he's still in the league doing it, though, by the way, because that means that talent is not being wasted that we saw at West Virginia. So he's a backup quarterback right now for the Seattle Seahawks. Last week, goes into overtime. Geno Smith goes out there, bang, calls coin toss, gets it right. Here we go. We get the ball. They score. They win. This week, back-to-back overtime games. What are you going to do? You're not going to change that, says Pete Carroll. He had no gum chewing last night, but what he didn't change is sending Geno Smith out there. Geno got it right. Sort of.
We're going to flip a silver dollar. That's the head. That's the tail. Seattle, what's your call? Your call is heads.
Geno Smith makes the call.
It is a head. You won the toss. You want the ball. Which way you want to...
Sure sounded like Geno Smith called it tails.
Yeah,
Play that back
did.
one more again. Let's turn it up.
We're going to flip a silver dollar. That's the head. That's the tail. Seattle, what's your call? Your call is heads.
Geno Smith makes the call.
It is a head. You won the toss. You want the ball. Which way you want to...
See, Joe Tessitore even wanted to say, Geno Smith makes the call. He calls tails. The ref can't even get that right, by the way. The refs in 2019 can't even get it right. If they say tails or heads, doesn't matter for Geno Smith. Now, granted, that thing lands on tails. I would have liked to see Geno Smith's reaction. I would have loved to see the towel around. What are you even doing? How are you a professional ref is what he had to ask.
I love that he played it off. Was just like, yeah, I called tails.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I said that for sure. Geno Smith makes a play, undefeated still in overtime coin tosses in the last 2 weeks. I don't know how he was before that, but when a guy gets hot in heads or tails, you let him out there to make decisions for you.
That's a veteran coin toss caller move
Yes.
right there.
Yes. Let it play out first. Because whenever he said, Geno Smith calls heads, he could have right there been like, no. No, I called tails. Lets it play out, sees it fall, he goes, yeah, that's what I thought. All right, yeah, we want the ball for sure. It's overtime, right? Yeah, all right, walks off. I wonder if the Niners guy who was there was like, wait a minute. What is it? That was not what he called. That was not what he called at all. I was out there for a couple coin tosses. Voted captain one year. I knew I was going to get voted captain again. Because our GM was going to make sure that didn't happen. Felt pretty good, had the old C on the chest. But I went out there, and I normally didn't talk. And then I called it one time, and I got it right. And then the next week, I was walking back out there, and Robert was like, you calling it again? I was like, no, Robert. He was like, you have to. I'm like, no, Robert. I'm on a hot streak right now. I'm just going to walk away undefeated in coin tosses in the NFL. I'm done. He's like, no, you have to. Got it wrong the next time.
Oh, no.
But that's a real thing, though. Because all those little things, it's an edge. If you can get the ball in the second half and at the end and in the first half get points and get the ball in the second half, it's an edge to win that coin toss. And yes, it's 50-50, but if you got a guy that can see the future a little bit, call me now. You want to utilize the hell out of that. I thought it was a great Monday Night Football game, though. Lived up to the hype, I thought.
Yeah, big time.
I think it lived up to the hype.
That was like one of the most physical games I can remember in a while, too. I mean, granted, that's like a big rivalry, but, God, they were – I mean, I'm surprised more guys didn't get injured. There are a lot of guys going down, and I'm just glad that, Jimmy G and Russell are both healthy.
Thank God, by the way. We don't want to see any more backup quarterbacks. We like seeing our stars. Russell Wilson is one of those. I'll tell you what, the conversation in the office, though, before we went on air, we're not sold on Seattle yet. No. Yes, they are incredible. Yes, they beat the 49ers. Yes, they performed the best against that Niners defense that has been suffocating teams all year. But when you get into the playoffs, I think obviously they're going to make the playoffs. Let's not get crazy here. Obviously they're going to make the playoffs. Obviously they're a very good team. Obviously Russell Wilson's probably going to win the MVP. But when you get into the playoffs in the NFC, and you got to keep up with Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and the likes of that nature, that's going to be tough for that Seattle defense to hold up. Now, granted, they had a big-time game last night. If Jadeveon Clowney is going to continue to wreck games like he did last night, they're in a good spot. Then you got what? Nino?
Bobby Wagner's probably the best middle linebacker.
Bobby Wagner? Shaquem Griffin had a pick last night that got called back that I thought was kind of a call. I mean, yes, I guess it is technically a call, but, I mean, they were a little touch and go last night with these refs. I think if that defense can get humming and get going, and Russell Wilson can continue to play the way he's playing, he's going to need some help for sure. Maybe they're okay, but you're going to run into a buzzsaw like Aaron Rodgers or a buzzsaw like Drew Brees, even though they didn't look like it last week against the Atlanta Falcons, which was like their Super Bowl, which playoffs are like Super Bowl games. So, I mean, that is tough for me to say. I sound like quite a hypocrite here who doesn't know what I'm talking about. But if Drew Brees is rolling against that Seattle, it's going to be tough to see if they can keep up with that. I don't know if they can.
This was his first game with Gordon, too. I think that's going to change a lot
True.
for them.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon had a couple big-time catches last night. Let's assume he gets more. Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe the Seahawks are a real team.
I feel like I learned nothing last night, which frustrated me watching because, like, is Jimmy G going to be able to be good enough? And then, like, he was, but he wasn't, and he threw some balls that could have been caught. And then the Seattle defense going to be good enough? And they were, but they.
Yeah,
I learned nothing last
Jimmy
night.
G made some throws that I was like, oh, good quarterback.
Yeah.
And then he missed some throws where I was like, you know what? Tough throw, but I think really good quarterbacks make that throw. Like there was one where he was on his back foot and he missed a guy on the sideline. And I was like, I just think like there are I couldn't have made a throw. No way. With a guy running in my face like that, I'd poop my pants. But I think there are some quarterbacks that would have been able to make a couple throws that he didn't make last night, and I think that's the difference. But also, listening to him do the interview pregame, I like Jimmy G a lot as a human. And he was signing autographs for people in the stadium. Like some quarterbacks game day are so locked in they don't even think about any of that. I like Jimmy G a lot. I like the way his demeanor. I like the way he plays football. I like Jimmy G a lot.
I think last night highlighted how much they need George Kittle too.
Yeah, George Kittle is tough. George Kittle is their best offensive player, is what Shanahan said. Also, no Robbie Gould. No
True.
Robbie Gould, no George Kittle. That's a recipe for disaster for any team. All right, it's 10:13. We have to get to a break because we have Dalvin Cook on the other side before he goes into a team meeting at 10:30. I think Zimmer would probably kick his ass if he's late. Dalvin Cook would be a tough guy to beat ass, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
He is a great running back in the NFL, leading the NFL in rush yards right now. Something that we should definitely think about. 10:13, we'll be back on the other side with Dalvin Cook. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. We are being joined now by the all-time leader in rushing for the Florida State Seminoles. Second-round draft pick of the Minnesota Vikings. We'll ask him who Lizzo was dating on the team and also about his immaculate start to the 2019 NFL season thus far. Running back for the Minnesota Vikings, Dalvin Cook.
I appreciate it.
How are you, man? Do you know who Lizzo was dating in your locker room?
Nah, I try to stay out of everybody's business.
I could respect that a lot. We appreciate you joining us here before your team meeting. You have started off this season in a manner that has just been so destructive to defenses. What has been the change going into this year that has made you such a weapon? I mean, granted, we saw glimpses in the past, but now it just feels like week in, week out, you're dominating everybody. What has been the change?
Oh, you're just seeing a group of guys just buying in, and it dates back to OTAs and minicamp, and we brought in Coach Kubiak, Coach Rico, and all those guys to get this thing going, and we brought it in from day one, and you're seeing the outcome of it, each week.
That offensive line, Dan Orlovsky did this entire breakdown on Get Up about the amount of bodies that they get on the ground that kind of make you spurt you through the first level. What is that offensive line doing to help out in all aspects for the Vikings?
That's the moving crew, man. They moving guys and getting us up to second level and getting us to the linebackers and giving us chances to make plays. And whether me, Alex, Amir, all those guys will come in, you're still seeing the same running lanes no matter who's in the backfield toting the ball. So they've been doing a great job. Cal's been blocking out there. Irv Smith, Conklin, all those guys been blocking and giving us a chance to make some big plays.
Your offense, you were doing incredible early. You've been doing great this entire season. Then there was that situation, and that's I'm probably not describing it accurately. Thielen comes out, then the Kirk Cousins show, then Stephon Diggs misses a practice. Then after that, it seems like this Vikings offense has been unstoppable. Now, granted, you guys had a slip up a week ago, but it's been unstoppable. What happened that week that kind of brought everybody back together, back centered, back focused on the mission at hand?
Nothing really, after all the, where everything was going on. You seen guys just came back to work, and, if you would have seen us that week in practice, we was flying around and, wanting to get better, accepting the coaching and just trying to figure out, what can we get better at and how can we, get better in certain situations. And I think, that week right there of practice, kind of just, told the character of our team.
Was there a players-only meeting or anything like that, or did you guys just kind of get it together in the locker room?
No, we did. It was just locker room talks. In the locker room how it goes. You have your talks, and guys just reaching out and said, we just got to dig deep and know who he is and know the work we put in. And I think guys understand what's going on.
Okay, that's awesome. You're leading the NFL in rushing right now, I think, by 5 yards over Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's name has been mentioned on everybody's MVP list. You're not getting talked about at all, by those in those circles. Does that matter to you? Do you even care about that?
No, I just like winning, and that's that's just part of me. And the ultimate goal is to hold that trophy up at the end of the day. And, I think you keep going out there and you keep performing it and keep putting our team in a position to win football games. Everything can happen.
Speaking of winning football games. Hey, hope you're all right there. You need some water or anything? I got you, Dalvin. I got your back. Speaking of winning games, Kirk Cousins. It was talked about by everybody. Primetime games, primetime Kirk Cousins doesn't show up. Then you guys, on the grandest stage of them all, Jerry World, on Sunday Night Football, get a massive team victory. All phases were clicking there for Kirk Cousins. Describe Kirk Cousins as a human and as your quarterback.
Unbelievable off the field. Once you want to know the little things, you go ask Kirk. Smart player. He's a veteran in the league, and once he's dialed in, and you've seen that Sunday night. That's my quarterback, man.
Do you take it upon yourself a lot of responsibility in the run game that if you have a good run game that normally that helps out the quarterback and helps out everybody else on the team immensely?
Yeah, I kind of understand, staying ahead of the sticks, and that's my mindset. Keeping us ahead of the sticks and, giving us opportunities to get first downs and keep this thing going, because we got guys that can make plays and that can do a lot of special things. But in the running game, it's about keeping us ahead of the sticks and giving us a chance to convert on third downs.
How hands-on is Gary Kubiak over there?
Very hands-on. He's a man, when he talks, you wants to hear what he got to say. And he's a man of few words. So once he do talk, you want to know what's going on.
Okay, well, hey, I want to let you know. Go ahead, Diggs.
Hey, do you have any thoughts on Deon wanting the head coaching job at FSU?
Oh, there we go.
I'm campaigning for him, too.
Hey, wait. Now, FSU, back in the day, we all remember, used to be, it was everything. FSU, whenever the Seminoles were on TV, we knew that the chant was going to happen. We knew that it was going to be an exciting atmosphere. That's kind of fallen off. Do you think it's going to take Deon to get FSU back into that world?
I think it's going to take a guy that know the tradition, know the culture of Florida State. I think that's why Jimbo was such a good fit for what Florida State, had going, because he kind of, knew what the tradition was and knew the culture of how to get things done at Florida State. And I think, Deon understands the same thing. So you got to get the guy that just know the culture of Florida State, and that's going to get the talent there. I think that's what we're lacking at. We got to get the talent level back up at Florida State.
Man, it would be awesome if Florida State was good again. I remember watching you in college, so mesmerized by the things that you could do with a football. In the NFL, you've been able to do the same damn thing. That has to feel pretty good. That has to feel very good. I'm being serious when I say that.
I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, man. I talked to Frank Gore, and he said whenever he was at the U, he was watching all the old heads that came out of the U go dominate in the NFL. And he was like, man, I just can't wait to get there to do my thing. Did you have that same mindset when you were at Florida State? Like, couldn't wait to show off?
Frank's my guy, too. I actually lean on Frank for a lot of advice, just for the little things, because Frank's been doing it for so long. But, being from Miami and seeing guys come out of Miami and have the blueprint to do it, that's all you need to see if somebody get it done. And I seen Frank, Devontae, all those guys come out and be successful in the NFL. Just matching the hard work with talent, and that's what I try to do on a daily basis.
Well, it's working out, man. Keep going. You're exciting to watch. We can't thank you enough for taking time today. Ladies and gentlemen, all-pro, all-time leading rusher of Florida State, should be in the MVP conversation, running back for the Minnesota Vikings, Dalvin Cook. Thank you, man.
I appreciate it.
Cheers, dude. Good guy.
Great guy.
Good guy, literally has a meeting in 4 minutes. He was in the training room. I was trying to see where he was during that conversation to see how far of a walk he probably has. I was like, looking at it, I think he's in the training room, and I'm hearing some noises in the back. I'm like, wait, is he in the hallway? Maybe he's in a hallway. He's a baller. We were looking up his stats because he was coming on the show. And that thing, he's leading the NFL in rushing right now. You would never know. Never, ever know. Never gets talked about.
No, nobody's
Conversation
talking about
is Kirk Cousins, whether he can show up or not. Dalvin Cook, since before the public thing happened and after the public thing happened, has still been dominant. And that says a lot about a player, by the way, because a lot of the conversation publicly was, hey, we're only running the ball, right? Which means we're only giving the ball to Dalvin Cook. After that whole thing happened, Dalvin Cook was still like, yeah, I understand these guys want to eat too, but I'm going to get mine. Hey, I'm going to get mine.
It's good to see him, finally, once he's healthy, if he's healthy all season long, this is who he's going to be probably for the rest of his career. It's because his first seasons or whatever were injury-riddled. But you saw, like you said in the interview, he showed flashes.
Yes.
But then once he's healthy, hopefully it's the rest of the season.
Minnesota Vikings are currently ranked. Here we go. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to judge people who are judging teams. My reaction to ESPN NFL Power Rankings that were released this morning. So after last night's game, this list was released.
Nice.
Number 10, Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys lose. Dallas Cowboys have a tough stretch coming up. Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, dominant on Sunday Night Football, though. Jerry Jones says, hey, Zimmer had a good coaching plan. He said no Zeke Elliott today. That's what he said. He had a good plan. Mike Zimmer had a great plan. Complimented another head coach more than I've ever heard Jerry Jones talk about another position in the history of Jerry Jones, talking about opponents of the Dallas Cowboys. They fed Zeke. Should have let Dak just get loose with old toe tap Amari Cooper, who was dominant throughout the evening. Instead, Kellen Moore and Jay Scarrick go another way. It gets turnover on downs. They lose to the Minnesota Vikings. They have a tough stretch coming up, though. So to say they're at 10 is very interesting by ESPN because, now granted, the Eagles also have a tough stretch. So somebody's going to have to make it out of the NFC East, whether we like it or not.
That might come down to the Week 17.
Can't wait to watch it. It's going to be on primetime television, as is every other game for the NFC East. Can't wait to watch it. By the way, obligatory Cowboy talk right there. Number 9, Kansas City Chiefs. Another team just lost. That's going to be a trend in this list, by the way. This team just lost. And I understand that this is people having to justify their preseason rankings and what they think. And I understand that the amount of talent that is on that Kansas City Chiefs offense is otherworldly. I mean, it is. They find a faster guy, just like Mark Schlereth said, they find a faster guy than the fastest guy in the league somehow. Hardman takes a ball 70 yards and pulls away from 2 other professional athletes as if they were Zito. Come on. But still, they're losing games. It's all they're doing is losing games. Number 9. Number 8, the Houston Texans. This is an interesting one because Deshaun Watson is starting to play Michael Jordan-like football, like Dabo Swinney talked about when he was coming out of the draft. Got kicked in the eyeball, thought he lost his whole damn eye, throws a touchdown. Then goes to London Town, gets a win, has a bye, maybe that eye healed up, has some Popeye's chicken sandwiches that he talked about. Houston Texans, especially with the Colts, if we got to continue to play Brian Hoyer, AFC South looks like it could potentially be driven by H-Town, and you know what it is. Number 7, Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook was just on our show. If that guy is going to continue to dominate, which it sounds like he is very comfortable doing so, I like the Minnesota Vikings because when you have a good run game, that opens up the pass game. If Kirk Cousins has time and the availability to kind of pick apart things, he can throw the ball around when he needs to. Gets a big primetime win. Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys giving birth to primetime Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is going to remember that night for the rest of his life. Kyle Rudolph, hopefully they get Thielen back after resting the hamstring for a week. Stephon Diggs, and that defense is always going to be damn good. Offensive line is good. I like the Vikings at 7. This is a smart move, by the way. They just got a win. So we had 2 losses, a bye, and a team that won, and now we're at 6. The New Orleans Saints just lost at number 6. Now, granted, a lot of people are just like, the Falcons know everything about the New Orleans Saints. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones know all that they could possibly need to know about the New Orleans Saints. They've played them like 20-some times or something like that. That makes sense. Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints hate each other. That makes sense. Rivalry game. Drew Brees had to sit out, though. You would think him coming back, he would still be able to get hot, keep moving. Is it just a blip? Maybe. I would assume Sean Payton's a good enough coach to get him back on track. I have faith that the Saints are always going to be good. So 6 sounds right, even though they just lost. Number 5, the Green Bay Packers. This is the team I think is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Even more certain after last night.
I agree.
Even more certain that Aaron Rodgers and this Packers team, who's been able to win games without Aaron just picking up the entire city of Green Bay, picking up Lambeau Field, putting it on his back, and walking through the entire game, that LaFleur offense is starting to flourish. LaFleur flourishing should be the tagline in Green Bay. Aaron Jones gets going. Other offensive weapons that you've never heard of get going. They got Devontae Adams coming back. And that defense, if they can maintain some discipline on two-goal situations, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, and stopping the run, too. That's what really worries me about Dalvin Cook is like the Vikings could still very, very easily win that division.
Well, that's what the Seahawks did last night is you just stacked the box. But then you're putting it on primetime Kirk Cousins' shoulders, who has a lot of weapons. So then you got single cover on Diggs, single cover on Thielen, and you got Rudolph distracting the safeties.
That ain't going to work.
That's going to be tough. That could be a tough matchup for the Green Bay Packers. Number 4, Seattle. Russell Wilson, MVP candidate. Can they maintain the defensive presence that they had last night against Jimmy G and the 49ers? That's what people are going to wonder. Can this defense be worth a single damn, is what a lot of people are wondering. Number 4 seems right, but I don't think they win it this year. But I think they're close with that team. I think they got a very good team. Josh Gordon joining them is a massive thing. Todd said that earlier. A couple big-time catches for him when he just showed up. I still don't understand if he's healthy. Like, the Patriots are so good at football, and they were just like, don't need him. He's healthy? IR him. Injury center. Get him the hell out of here. That's insane to me. Hopefully Pete Carroll and Seattle Seahawks could be a better fit than them. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this is something I can get behind. The Baltimore Ravens have a anomaly, a 101 offensive set. And with that, you're creating the blueprint. So in that, when you're creating something, there's nothing you can rely on. If something goes wrong, if something stops it, you can't just be like, oh, how did this person fix this? How did these people fix that? Because Lamar Jackson is Lamar. He's in his own world. That offense with 3 tight ends and that Andrews guy who's just catching touchdown after touchdown, and he seems to always be open, and Lamar can always find him. And Hollywood Brown makes explosive plays for them. And that offensive line is incredible. Lamar, though, is one of one. They go as he goes, and I think everybody knows that. That defense, Marcus Peters gets traded over there trying to prove himself to a brand-new team. I like the way the Baltimore Ravens are playing football. Earl Thomas also stud. Mm-hmm. People forget about that. Mm-hmm. Saw Legion Boom last night with Richard Sherman in the number 2 team, San Francisco 49ers. They lose last night to the Seattle Seahawks, who are ranked 4th in their power rankings, and they're still number 2. Makes no sense. The people that are doing these rankings are just mailing it in. They sent this in. They had a deadline before that overtime was over. I don't even think they saw the tails head situation with Geno Smith. I think they turned this in before then. San Francisco 49ers only have 1 loss. Have they played very difficult competition up until last night? Some would argue no. I mean, that wasn't me saying that. Other people are saying that, not I. But they have a little bit of a test now. They're going to have some games here. That defense is dominant. Russell Wilson had just a tiny bit of success, and Russell Wilson's on an MVP year, and he only had a little 1 pick, 1 touchdown for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson normally has a much bigger day than that. Anybody that says Russell Wilson picked apart that Niners defense, I don't think he picked apart that Niners defense at all. It was actually, he just made a couple massive plays against a very, very dominant defense, which the Niners are. Can the offense, though, maintain? No George Kittle last night, so the person that did these rankings might have thought, like, well, their best player on offense literally wasn't there. No Robbie Gould, too. Big deal, Robbie Gould not being there. Nobody talks about it.
And Sanders Ribs. He went out pretty early.
Yeah, and Sanders went out. Who Booker McFarland was reminding everybody he is a number 1 wide receiver. He's at the end of his career, but he is a number 1 wide receiver, has been a number 1 wide receiver. So when you're a number 1 wide receiver, there's different things you have to do. You have to run different routes. You have to take different responsibilities. Emmanuel Sanders has that ability, has that experience, and he was making some plays last night before he got hurt.
Yeah, same thing. He's kind of like a safety valve for Jimmy G, too, where he doesn't have to air it out. He's going to run those underneath routes and get open in the middle of the field, and that just makes everything a little bit easier.
Kyle Shanahan, big brain, is going to be able to use him, too. He already has. He gets injured. Kittle's out. Maybe that's why people are like, it's still number 2 team behind the team. This team might not have been there in this particular position for the last couple weeks, but everybody's like, we all know. The Super Bowl is played this year on Groundhog Day. Punxsutawney Phil is going to pop up out of that hole. Groundhog's going to see 7,000 drunk whites, a couple fatter whites wearing weird jackets and a bigger hat. He's going to go, not for me, dog. He's going to go right back down into his hole. They're going to say, winner coming. Well, hate to break it to you, or 6 more weeks of winter or whatever. Hate to break it to you. Whenever he pops out there and does that look for 5 to 7 seconds, even Punxsutawney Phil is going to look around and go, Patriots are in the Super Bowl again. Damn it. It's just the way it goes. Patriots are coming out of a bye week. Tom Brady said we have to ramp it up, which I assume he means on the offensive side, because they haven't been on 100% on the offensive side yet this year. The defense has won them a lot of games this year. But what, they get 2 weeks off, a little TB12 treatment, a little film study, playing against a team that he says he still thinks about to this day, the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl. Patriots coming off a bye week, getting their whole ship corrected. Boy, oh boy, not good news for the AFC. Number 1 ranked team. By the way, coming off a loss. Their last game was a loss. 5 of the teams that ESPN has in their top 10 are coming off of a loss. So there's a lot to be said about just 1 or 2 weeks in the middle of the season where you just go, write it off. Or this writer just mailed it in. I mean, it's one or the other. But the Patriots being number 1 just makes too much sense. I mean, every time you play the Patriots, it feels like they came off their bye week.
It
right?
does. It does.
Their strategy, their scheme, It's like, man, how do you guys put this in 3 days of practice?
They have more days than everyone else.
Is there more hours?
Is there?
Maybe that's the Patriot way.
They're in
slowing the clocks.
They're in a time reflux.
With Matt Groening.
Yep.
Matt Groening's probably a Patriots fan. Now we start piecing this together. Their clocks are slower in there, and the players don't even realize it because they're just looking at the clocks like everybody else. But really, an 8-hour day at the Patriots facility is a 12-hour day because they remix at about lunchtime. You know how you set your clocks back?
Oh, yeah.
They do that every day. That makes so much sense now.
Rookies
in retrograde.
Yeah.
What's that?
Rookies are like in their third year because time's going so
Football
slow.
savings time.
That's why everybody's overperforming.
It's football savings time. The Patriot way.
Glad we can solve that.
It makes so much sense now. That's why Belichick was like, I'm not going to coach into my 70s. He's been 70 for 5 years. So he's like, I didn't think that whenever I said that whenever I didn't know what 70 was like. That's why they're so good. But now they have even double that. The Eagles, I feel so bad for them. I feel so bad for the Philadelphia Eagles. Tom Brady said that he still thinks about that Super Bowl loss to this day. Was it 2 years later? And they've won another Super Bowl since. And he's like, you think I forgot dropping that pass? You think I forgot watching old Philly or whatever the hell they call it? You think I forgot while watching NFL Network when Big Richard Nick Foles goes over to Peterson and goes, how about Philly special? Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's okay. That's what Doug Peterson does. You think Tom Brady forgets about that? No way. Tom Brady likes whenever people say bad things about him. Tom Brady lives off of that. Tom Brady was just, a 5th-round pick? Sixth-round pick? That is a chip on the shoulder quarterback, no matter how many millions of dollars you've made or how many championships you've won or how many hundreds of millions your wife makes or how much time versus time, by the way. It all plays back to the Patriots. Football savings
Why else
time.
would you put a facility and a stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts?
Whoa. Take it easy. We don't know the people of Foxborough.
I'm just saying,
It's a time portal.
I'm just saying, it's a very small city.
I got you.
It also explains why Belichick speaks so slowly.
Correct.
To him, it sounds really fast, but slowed down for the rest of us.
Happy we can figure that
They're
out.
3.5-point favorites against the Eagles at Philly.
I just reached below my desk and grabbed this hammer that has failed me recently. But let's not forget where this hammer got me at the beginning of the season. Have I been fading myself recently? Yes. Have I been fading this hammer recently? Yes. It's because I've been with me for 32 years.
And you're swinging it backwards.
Oh.
New England Patriots, -3.5.
Yep.
In Philadelphia.
Yep.
Coming off a bye week. Tom Brady says he hasn't forgotten about the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl win over him when he dropped the ball. Patriots. Hammer it. The hammer's back, by the way. Pretty pumped up about that. You know what else is back? Trimming your kit and caboodle.
I'd say it never left.
Well, it did leave for a little bit for a lot of people because the fear of nicking or snagging your nuts was just too great for some folks. Now you can manscape without that fear thanks to our friends at Manscaped, who is #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. You will feel fearless and fresh with Manscaped line of products. Starting with the Lawnmower 2.0 with proprietary skin-safe technology, this trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. Plus, the Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. I mean, Zito,
Tell me about it.
why wouldn't you put deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? It's time to man up and stop using the same trimmer on your face as you do on your balls, Todd.
it up.
That is just nasty. Thanks to Manscaped, manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. No more sayonara, see you later, ball cuts. Feel fearless, feel fresh, and feel fine when you use the right tools for the job this time. Your balls will thank you, and so will your wallet. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AMERICA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code AMERICA. Shout out to Manscaped. It's real, by the way. That Lawnmower 2.0, it's waterproof, and they somehow have created a razor that you can just go willy-nilly down there on your willy-nilly, and it won't cut. You won't bleed out. First time I used it, I shaved my entire lower half.
Just couldn't stop.
I just couldn't stop. Next thing I know, I'm down by my shins. What the hell's going on here?
Every time for the first 5 seconds, I'm like, oh, I got to be careful. But then I'm like, oh, wait, this is a lawnmower. Let's just go at it.
Just go at it. Go to town. Plow through your pubic hair with Manscaped. Use code America. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. 1042, we're back on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. No clue why. Each week, our friends at Roman, GetRoman.com, ask us and provide us with the financials to record a documentary of the week that was. Evan Foxy puts the flicks together. We release them every Tuesday. This week, got a chance to showcase me going back and seeing old teammates, old friends at Dwight Freeney's Ring of Honor ceremony. To check out the entire clip, go to youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Evan Foxy with a heater.
Want to die up in the ring? All right, here we are.
Huge thanks to Dwight for inviting me to that, by the way. A lot of OGs got a chance to catch up. I didn't know we were getting announced out of the tunnel. When I got there, I actually told Gary Brackett, I was like, Gary, will you stand by me so I don't look like a loser out there? And he was like, well, you're actually going to get introduced. Or I'll tell you what, a little pop for the kid. I just came out, walked out very casually, gave a wave, a tip of the thank you so much. I appreciate that. Even guys that hate me were tweeting like, the punter got a bigger pop than Manning. And I think today is a great day to remember that those superheroes that walked amongst us, even though you might not be for the war, you might not be for what we're fighting for, it might have gotten a little bit political as opposed to what it once was. You should definitely be for the warrior. The warrior is just like you or me. They just so happen to have a selflessness level and a badassness level that we cannot get to. And for that, we thank you, Todd, and we thank all the women and men who chose, who are choosing, and will choose in the future to serve our military. Does it not scare you that just the opinions of a couple old whites in a room decide the entire factor on whether or not Minnesota Gophers will make it into the college football playoff if you guys go undefeated? Does that scare you?
You know, just like any team, everybody controls what you can control, and that's the pressure. Pressure's earned. You know, pressure is something that you work your entire life for, and then when you have it, you're ready for it because it's earned, and it's something that means that your life is very significant.
Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys. They gave birth last night to prime-time Kirk Cousins. Congrats. You had a baby, Cowboys.
Everybody that plays in the NFL is an exceptionally gifted athlete. I mean, I watch some of the stuff you do, making shots and kicking 60-yard field goals, and some of the stuff you do, unbelievable athletic accomplishments in what you are. And so everybody's incredibly.
You can check out the whole clip. How long is it, Foxy?
About 10 minutes.
It's worth it, I think. It's a hilarious life. And by the way, this week, got a pretty big announcement coming up. So next week's Tuesday show should be pretty good with old Foxy. 10:46, we'll be back in like 2 minutes. Foxy with the pen. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It's 10:48, and it is time for the segment that is sweeping the globe. Zito Fun Facts. Zito?
I reached into my bag last night. I got a Snapple cap, and my Snapple cap today was termites eat through wood 2 times faster when listening to rock music. Huh.
Who knew?
Who knew? Back to you, Pat.
Isn't there something where, like, humans who listen to instrumental music or whatever, when they're studying, they're smarter? And then I assume whenever you're listening to, like, whenever I go to work out, there better be some gangster-ass rap in my ears, okay? I'm ready to go to war. I'm ready to grind to get all of the monies. I'm just ready to go in there. I'm happy to hear the termites are the same damn way. Termites are down there chewing through wood.
Headbanging.
Miserable existence, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Miserable existence. Imagine if your entire existence was eating wood. Whenever something tastes bad, what do you say? Oh, it tastes like wood. It tastes like cardboard.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible. Like, why couldn't they be created to saw through like chocolate? Like, what if termites just got a chance to do that?
I do.
We would hate them.
We would hate them. I don't really mind them now. It's like, yeah, do what you got to do to wood, cuz.
I don't live in a cabin. I'm fine. Go ahead.
Just don't do it to my wood. You never want termites in your house, but I got nothing against them because I think they live a miserable existence. But to hear that they're just down there jamming out, throwing up the rock horns while sawing through some cedar.
Oh, yeah, with their Walkmans.
Good for termites. Are these accurate, by the way?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
What if you played like some soft, like maybe some emo
2
or some
times slower.
classical music? Slow them down.
That's to get them out of your house. Everybody always asks, like, how do you get the termites out? You got to go do this, got to do that. Nah. You get a big-ass speaker. You turn it to where they are. You put on some instrumental music, some symphony stuff. Termites hate the violin.
You think that's why rock stages don't use wood anymore? They use metal?
Good for you, Zito. hey, sometimes that brain, man.
It's sometimes turning around.
Sometimes
listening to rock music.
Metal. Yeah, good for you. 10:50 here on this Tuesday, November 12th. Got a chance to chat about the Monday Night Football game last night. We didn't learn much. I don't think we really learned much. We learned that San Francisco 49ers are going to struggle against teams that are potentially going to struggle. They didn't have George Kittle, which is their number one offensive weapon. They didn't have Robbie Gould, which ended up biting them in the ass at the end. They're potentially going to struggle against teams that are good, okay? Potentially. They played a good team, and now they have a stretch here of good games that they're going to have to play. Excited to watch that defense that has been dominant and was dominant last night. They made an MVP quarterback look very average. Granted, Russell Wilson's going to make plays because he's going to be the MVP this year. That's what Russell Wilson's going to do. That defense did well. And for the Seattle side, they look like they were out of that game the entire time early. Then bang, Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, and the defense get going. A couple lucky turnovers. Doesn't matter how you get them, though. It's just that you get them. Seattle goes on to win that game in overtime. Big time win for Russell Wilson. Go Hawks. They did a candid. Something wrong, Ty?
Russell Wilson's the worst.
What is your problem?
Well, I mean, it's not new. I hate that guy so much.
Yeah, but Russell Wilson.
He's good at football, yes. He is one of the biggest douchebags on the face
Will
of the
you
earth.
take it easy on Russell Wilson? The thoughts of Ty Schmidt do not reflect that of his employer.
Right, it's just me.
We've had this conversation where, Diggs is hopping in. Now we got the table of boys here ready to go. I don't know how the couch feels. Couch?
Hey, I love Russell Wilson.
There we
I
go.
don't care if he is vanilla, if he's corny, whatever. I love it because he balls out.
He does ball out.
Yeah.
He made me money because I faded myself last night, so I'm very thankful for that. The way he dresses now is impeccable. Since he's gotten with Sierra,
I can't see him.
His style. He wore a camouflage sport coat last night. Zito said he couldn't see him. We have a picture of it up right now if you're listening to the radio. He is
Visual comedy.
He is. It's just like what we thought about Tim Tebow, though. I think Tim Tebow. Everybody had those thoughts about him. Like, this guy's fake, this guy's cliche, this guy's corny. And then we meet him at Topgolf, and for an hour and a half, Tim Tebow did a complete opposite of that. Most genuine human. He was exactly how he is on television in real life. What if Russell Wilson's like that? It's hard for me to think that Russell Wilson isn't like he is all the time on television, because he's always on television, it seems like, talking, and he always sounds the exact Go Hawks at the end of everything. He's always positive. It sounds like him and Pete Carroll are the same human, actually.
See, that's the difference. Is I've met Tebow, like the guy. I don't ever want to meet Russell Wilson. I want to feel this way for the rest of my life.
They need their own TV show together. Just some G-rated, comes on at 4 in the afternoon. You're my best friend. Just,
Russell Wilson and Tebow?
Yeah, just a nice guy on their way through life.
The ratings would be at $1 billion. 1 billion.
Billions.
He's very good, though.
He's very good at staring at the line and then figuring out where he's going to slip through and allow more time for his receivers to get open.
Yeah, and he's always looking to throw, by the way, which I can appreciate and respect because he does have the ability to run and slide. He was a professional baseball player for the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
He's a New York Yankee. He's an MVP candidate. He says, go Hawks, almost like the Iowa Hawkeyes. This feels like a guy that Ty Schmidt should really get along with.
Yeah, he was bred basically for me to just hate in every sense. Couldn't stand him when he was at Wisconsin. Hate that he goes and does the Yankee stuff. The Go Hawks thing is one of the worst traditions in sports.
Oh, my God.
And
Is it the Hawkeyes?
And he's just a horse's ass on top of it. But, hey, great football player. I did bet on the Seahawks money line last night, so, you know.
Oh, big win for you.
I disagree with Ty a lot. I had that feeling about him until I've gotten to the point now where I just think it's him all the time. They had like a candid shot of him jogging off the field last night. Same exact human as he is on all those things.
Even better, because then I know I don't like that guy.
There's no reason for you to bury Russell Wilson like this. Let the guy have his moment. He's in an MVP run. Now, granted, he threw an interception in overtime, which nobody expected, but he and Pete Carroll seem to be about the same exact person. And he's going to go and do well, I think. So we talked about that. Got a chance to talk to Dalvin Cook. Broke down the ESPN NFL Power Rankings. If you didn't hear that, we went on a pretty good run. It's on the internet. It's on our YouTube, I believe. Check that out. In my second hour, now that I am a college football analyst, Thursday Night Football, University of Pittsburgh hosts the North Carolina Tar Heels. 627 people in the stands. Should be a good game, though. Excited to watch it. I am a college football analyst. I will give my top 6 for the college football, and I want to let you know this list means more than everybody else's list because I thought mine through. Mine is not swayed by my personal relationships with some people and non-relationships with other people at all.
Of course not. You wouldn't do that.
That's what we're doing in the second hour. Dalvin Cook was here. He was an incredible conversation. Taught us about the Minnesota Vikings, how locker room conversations brought them together. Woo! It's going to be a great second hour. 1-833-622-3331. Let's have a second hour on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go.
vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice. I appreciate you, pal. He gave us that for free. I can't believe that.
Good guy.
Good guy. He's on tour right now. Go see him if he comes to a city near you. It's 11:01 Eastern Standard Time, 8:01 Pacific Time. My headset just got trapped behind a seat. Almost got strangled. Oh, we appreciate you for listening on this beautiful Tuesday, November 12th. We are in Indianapolis, Indiana. DJ Nick Moraldo's on the ones and twos. Tone Diggs with a Z on the end of it is joined us at the table. Ty Schmidt is here with a couple spitters next to him. Evan Foxy, Viva Lazito, Jason McAfee, and on the phones, Tom McComas, 1-833-622-3331. Joining us in 28 minutes, Robert Mathis will be live in studio. Robert Mathis has the capability to beat up anybody you know. Chooses not to, good guy. Chooses not to, good guy. Would be a Hall of Famer. I can't wait to chat with him about the San Francisco 49ers defense and Bosa and that entire revamp that the Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch-led 49ers have had last year, going into the season. A lot of hype, a lot of talk. Hey, the Niners are the team to beat this year. Everybody's excited because Jimmy G, all he does is win, 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 no matter what. He gets hurt, hype dies. Then all offseason, they're just building up a monster over there. That defensive coordinator has incredible energy. That defense is suffocating. All year, they've been playing teams that we've said haven't been great. Yes, they were the last undefeated team remaining. Yes, they had been very impressive. But the teams hadn't been great. Then last night, they ran into the picture of perfection, Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll in the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football in front of Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland in Santa Clara, California. Ugly game early for the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers get a big-time lead. Thought they were going to run away with it, actually. Thought that defense had Russell Wilson confused and stumped. Instead, the Russell Wilson-led Seattle Seahawks get back in the game. Couple lucky turnovers. Touchdown by a kid named Hollister. His friend Abercrombie and Fitch. I don't know how they refrained from a single reference last night. That kid was on, I guess, practice squad a couple of weeks ago. Now everybody's hurt. He's making big-time catches. Russell Wilson showed his incredible ability last night on Monday Night Football, but was not dominant. That 49ers defense deserves a lot of respect and a lot of credit for a lot of the wins that they have put together this year. Jimmy G in the offense looked good early. Kyle Shanahan has this incredible ability to draw up plays. Without George Kittle, they were able to move the ball a bit. But going forward, can you trust that offense to win you games in the playoffs? Defense wins championships is the old adage, but in the NFC, they're going to have to keep up with some people. Will the offense be able to do that? I don't think last night taught us much because George Kittle was out. George Kittle was a game changer. Safeties have to stay here. There has to be a lot of different actions by the defense whenever George Kittle is in the game. So I don't think you can judge that 49ers offense as much last night, but I do know they have a tough stretch coming up, and we're going to learn a lot about the 49ers very quickly. The San Francisco 49ers in the ESPN NFL Power Rankings are ranked second as a list that came out this morning. Seattle Seahawks, who beat them just last night, less than 12 hours ago, number 4. I'll be excited to see what happens with that 49ers team. But Russell Wilson proved once again why Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. He's a winner. Go Hawks. Ain't that right, Ty Schmidt?
Yeah, I mean, he played very well. He's a douche.
Easy.
There's no two ways
about it. You said it 10
it.
minutes ago.
I know. I just need to reiterate, just in case we got some new people listening right now. But I'm not going to take anything away from his play. He's very good. Also, though, I like you were saying, I think last night is kind of a wash.
Yeah.
A lot of drops. The 49ers were plagued by drops last night, and they weren't just they were drops that were getting deflected straight up for easy picks. I think you get Kittle back and you have Emmanuel Sanders healthy. That makes the 49ers a completely different team on offense.
Agreed. That's why I don't think really you could judge that offense after last night. Emmanuel Sanders gets hurt too. He gets out of the game. One of the best receivers maybe in football whenever he was going back in the day. When he was going, Emmanuel Sanders was in real-life conversation. Remember when the Broncos had Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, right? Mm-hmm. And that was when Peyton broke all those records?
Yes.
And then Demaryius Thomas leaves. He gets cut, released, traded. The whole thing happens. I don't know what happens. He was incredible there for a while. Good leader, too. And then Emmanuel Sanders kind of just drifts off into the doghouse of the Broncos. However, whatever happened, still hasn't really come out. They said they had a conversation where Elway told him, like, if anybody's looking to trade, I'll keep you in mind, things like that. But nothing has really come out about him, like, telling a coach to do anything, which I thought would happen. Anyways, gets traded to the Niners. Kyle Shanahan's got a new toy to kind of work out and work into his offense, an incredible one. Maybe that rejuvenates Emmanuel Sanders to coming back to the top of his game. Looked like it early. He gets hurt, so you can't judge him for that. But I like that Seahawks team. I like Russell Wilson a lot. And if their defense, with old Nino from the Lions, Shaquem Griffin got a pick last night after a ticky-tack call, called it back. They got to Deon Clowney, who in big games, and this is somebody who doesn't study enough film, obviously, in the NFL world, which there are some guys on the television, I guess, who watch every game, every snap, every play. And I wish I had that time. I wish I had more time. What movie is that from? Man on Fire.
Yep.
I wish you had more time. Where he blows the guy up on the hood.
It's great.
What a savage. I wish you had more time. Classic Denzel. Denzel, probably my favorite actor, by the way. As I go through my favorite movies, he tends to appear a lot more than everybody else.
Adam Sandler.
He doesn't do bad ones.
No, Adam Sandler's in the league of his
He
own.
does do bad ones.
Shut up, Tony.
What are you even talking about? Adam Sandler only makes bangers. What are you talking about?
You guys just haven't paid attention the last 15 years or so?
Well, back to what I was talking about. I don't pay attention enough to the Seattle Seahawks. So I don't know. Sandy was a banger. Sandy got like 700 million views on Netflix.
So many views.
So funny. Back to the Seahawks. I don't watch them enough to know. But whenever we were playing the Houston Texans and Clowney was on the team, I was always like, J.J. Watt, very good. They have a specimen on the other side, though, who is not created like every other human. He's bigger, stronger, faster than you are. That's just what it is. And every time on primetime game, it feels like Jadeveon Clowney is in the backfield a lot. And everybody always says, well, he hasn't performed to his capability. It's like every time I see him, he's disrupting some ish that's like, wait a minute. Why is this guy not making $700 million? I wonder if it's only like primetime games he shows up or if it's just like a different hand. He is so good at football.
They talked a little last night about how good he is against the run, and I think that's something that gets underappreciated by a lot of people because you don't really pay attention to it a lot.
Well, as a defensive end, the only stat that anybody looks at is, well, how many sacks did he have? We've talked to a couple different people now who are either D linemen or coaches. Disruption stats are a real thing that get looked at as a positive in the locker room and in for coaches, but for the media, not really. Jadeveon Clowney, I would assume, is quite a disruption. I just standing there, he's a disruption. I mean, he's just standing there. It's hard to focus whenever you got that guy lined up across from you, I'd assume. So I think he doesn't get enough credit. If he can get going, then the linebacker, Bobby Wagner can get going.
They have
Shaquem Griffin, Nino. I mean, that could be a defense that's very sound. And Pete Carroll has said that November football and on is when it really matters. That team could be coming into their own, but will they be able to keep up with the Packers and Saints? I don't know.
I thought they were going to be in trouble when they lost Will Dissly, the tight end, who's a stud.
Yeah.
He had 4 touchdowns on the year. And then they just go out and get Josh Gordon, who is slowly going to get worked in. He had 2 catches last night.
He's so good. I hope we talked about this in the first hour, and I think that's why it's easy to hate the Patriots. It's easy to hate them.
Yeah.
He was on the roster, healthy. You're like, it's IR. I'm getting the hell out of here. Don't need him. Yeah, well, what if somebody else picks up? We'll wait till after the trade deadline. So he has to go through the waivers or whatever. So then he doesn't fall to a good team. Yeah, but he could be really good for us, I think. Our offense, could use a guy that could really stretch the field and maybe make some big plays. Don't need him. Get him the hell out of here. They just have an abundance of talent that they don't even need Josh Gordon. And then now Josh Gordon's on the Seahawks, and they're going to make that team better. Tyler Lockett, who got hurt last night, he's in the hospital. Underrated wide receiver because he's undersized. I would assume that's why. Got a chance to listen to his spoken word in the pregame there with Michelle Beisner-Buck, who is that Joe Buck's wife?
I'm not sure.
Yes. The ring. The satellite that she has on her hand.
Joe does quite well for himself.
Oh, my. I mean, I think it was making noise that was getting picked up. I was like, okay. But she did an incredible piece about Tyler Lockett's reflection book, and it's like spoken word and poems of his. Pretty deep thinking guy, by the way. Very,
confirm.
very deep thinking guy. You can confirm that he is a deep thinking guy?
And wife of Joe Buck.
Okay, she did an incredible sit down where he did like spoken word and this whole thing. He's very deep thinker, very positive, very motivating. It was interesting to watch, and he's so good at football. He gets hurt, but no worries. Now you have Josh Gordon that you can hopefully work in a little bit more. Now, granted, Tyler Lockett, when he and Russell Wilson are together, it's almost unstoppable. That catch in the back of the end zone against the Rams is up for catch of the year candidate, obviously. But, man, Tyler Lockett being out and them just having Josh Gordon now is something that Pete Carroll, the gum chewer who chose not to chew gum last night, does it again. It's just like all of a sudden he does it again.
I don't know if you saw, but they said Josh Gordon wasn't supposed to play last night, but Pete Carroll saw him make a few catches in practice and was like, yeah, let's go. Get him in there.
We're going to shit that guy? And it would be interesting to like have film and just be like, that's what I saw of Phil Dorsett, by the way, with the Patriots. He was making these catches in practice for our practice squad where I was like, is there not something we can put in where we can just have him run and just throw it? He was making spectacular catches in practice on our defense, like Randy Moss and people. When you're not supposed to go up for the ball, by the way. Stay on your feet. Don't jump because somebody could get hurt. Don't do this. Don't do that. Like, you're not supposed to do it. It's kind of like talked against, but whenever you're making these highlight reel catches, it's hard to be like, first-round pick who's not getting the ball. Stop doing what you're doing there in practice. It's really his only time show. We can never work him in the offense. He goes to New England. They're good. But the Seattle Seahawks team, I think they're going to be good. I've come full circle on them since the first hour started.
You really have.
The more and more I think about it, the more and more I think I think their defense is going to start playing very well. And then now that they got Josh Gordon and Russell Wilson is a winner, okay? That's all Russell Wilson cares about. He doesn't care about the stats. He told Keyshawn Johnson last night in a sit-down interview before the Monday Night Football game. He said, I want to be the best that ever played the game. I was like, not a lot of people say that. A lot of people just say, like, hey, I want to make my team better. I want to do this. I want to do this. He said, I want to be the best that ever played. I'm like, damn. That means he's got a lot to prove and a lot to do. That would probably keep you grinding even after you sign $140 million while you're laying in bed with 4 chains on with your wife, Sierra. So I think he's only going to get better. Seahawks, I think they're going to be a very dominant team. But what do you do when you run into Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees? I'll be excited to see. Just like we said with the Niners, I'll be excited to see how they do against a good team. I'll be excited to see that. The NFL and the NFC got a good one lining up here for the last half of the season.
They are like the prototype, too, of a team who really – they never really wow you early, and then as the playoffs get closer, they're kind of like the Patriots in that regard. At least they have been under Pete Carroll. But it'll be interesting to see with their running game, because I know that's not really their identity anymore, but Chris Carson fumbles a lot. I think they fumbled like 5 times last night. And only
a lot of balls on the
3.
ground.
Like, that's going to bite him in the ass eventually.
DK Metcalf, by the way, everybody didn't think he could cut because his 3-cone drill was slower than Tom Brady's or whatever. And we all saw the picture of Tom Brady from that combine. That'd be tough to be slower than that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady's gotten faster with age. Like a fine wine, he's gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think he could do it. He seems to be like a wide receiver that could really make plays for them. Now, granted, he got stripped by a guy who was staying out of bounds. That's insane to me.
Great play.
Yeah, that was
Great
a
play.
weird situation there.
I don't know how that works. Because if that ball comes out while he's staying out of bounds,
Then
it's just out of bounds
correct.
for the Seattle Seahawks, right? I think so. Because
Yes.
he never.
That's how they explained it last night.
So if Metcalf lets go of that ball
Good.
half a second earlier, still Seahawks ball. Those are things you got to think about. You know,
Yeah.
Those are things that DK Metcalf has to think about. And he's a rookie.
Rookie
He'll
mistake.
learn.
Rookie mistake.
That was an incredible play, though. Great effort. That's why that defense, they're so hungry. They swarm to the ball. They get hungry. I mean, it is a very, very, very good defense over there. And that D coordinator, I don't like the ref telling him to get off the field after a 3-and-out or whatever, or a big turn. Like, hey, ref. Just let the guy who's bald, tan, attractive, and high energy leading the best defense in the league right now, let him get a little shine too. And if that pumps up the boys, hey, ref, shut up. How about that? How about you just get the hell out of the way? Go ahead and just senior citizen your ass right past him and act like you don't see it. Oh, you got to get him off the field. Because the rest of the game, he had to have a guy behind him. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the game, he had to have a guy behind him pulling him back like a get-back coach for himself. Normally head coaches have that. You got to let the guys celebrate a little bit. Come on. We're a game of celebrations. Every single play can be won or lost. We should celebrate. We should embrace that when a guy does that.
Seahawks are also one of those teams that every single game that they play is a one-score game. 8 out of their 9 or 8 out of their 10 have been a one-score game this year.
What, are they getting 6.5 last night?
Yeah.
Yes.
We should have. No, because we broke down everything, and we didn't think their defense was going to show up like their defense showed up. And to be honest, I forgot a lot of those guys were on that defense. And as soon as I watched them, I'm like, should have known.
Also, I just remember if they get Foxy knows him. If they get Ziggy Ansah back and like playing like he did a couple years ago,
Right.
that's just another Deon that this.
Foxy just retweeted that real quick.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete.
He is really. He was at the Steelers, wasn't he?
No, that's Ziggy Hood. Ziggy Ansah was with the Lions.
By the way, Ziggy, great name.
Great name.
Great name.
Ziggy Hood stinks.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, he was.
What
a big
was that
mess.
all about?
He does. He
He's a
stinks.
bust.
He's a bust.
Probably a nice guy.
Maybe he wasn't in the right situation. You know, maybe the Steelers could have treated him
He
a little.
stunk pretty much everywhere he went. So
It's 11:16 here on the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Got to get to a break. We'll come back with my top 6 college football teams. Change the music there a little bit.
college football song kind of.
This is kind of a college football song, isn't it? All right, well, I got to read an ad. We're not doing a college football thing. But I like the way this sounds.
Who's the college football band? The Thunders.
Imagine Dragons.
There it is.
Thunders.
I knew you were saying
The Thunders and the Lightnings. Yeah.
Thunder. Feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder. I will get down to some Imagine Dragons, by the way. Whenever they were with Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
The little radioactive remix.
Oh, they did that live at that award show. By the way, it's about to be award show season. Get ready for a lot of terrible speeches. And us to judge them. That's going to happen. But whenever they debuted that at an award show, I remember like sitting in my house like, okay, that went in there. Man, they go hard on that track. You guys like surveys?
Love them.
A recent Gallup survey shows that Americans, people that live in the United States, all 50 states, including Alaska and Hawaii, you often get kind of not talked about.
Mm-hmm.
A recent Gallup survey shows that Americans worry more about burglary than almost any other crime. More than mugging, which is kind of a form of burglary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But burglary of your home. More than mugging? More than terrorism? Huh?
What?
What? More than car theft and even murder.
Murder?
God.
According to studies, just over 10% of break-ins that happen in these burglary things are planned beforehand. The rest, 90% of them, are spur of the moment, crimes of opportunity, in other words, random. And the crazy part of all of this is that only 1 in 5 homes have home security. That's because companies of old in the home security world made it too difficult to have home security. Too expensive, too much hassle. You got people tramping in and out of your house, you got wires. And everybody thinks it's always so expensive. You're like, well, I can't afford a security system. Yes, you can. You can't afford getting your home burglarized. Normally it costs to the tune of $2,000. But our friends at SimpliSafe have transformed that entire model of home security by breaking down the barriers to get you the best, most reliable, and comprehensive protection available. SimpliSafe protects every door, window, and room with 24/7 professional monitoring. It's designed to blend into your home. No wires, no drilling. It's easy to order, easy to set up. Takes under an hour. They've won a bunch of awards in this field. Ty, you love awards.
Oh, I love them.
You ever heard of CNET?
Oh, yeah.
Champion, SimpliSafe.
Cream of the cream.
You ever heard of the New York Times wire cutter?
Oh,
Champion, SimpliSafe. Prices are always fair and honest. Around-the-clock monitoring is just $15 a month. You get an app, you set your cameras up, bang, you are plugged in. If there's movement, your camera automatically goes on to record what's going on. Feel secure, feel comfort, and have your house protected with our friends at SimpliSafe. Right now, you visit SimpliSafe.com/Pat. You'll get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. You've got nothing to lose. That's SimpliSafe.com/Pat. SimpliSafe.com/Pat. And for those in the content-making world, also great to have the cameras in the house that turn on whenever things start happening. We have them in the office. They've caught plenty of magic thanks to our friends at SimpliSafe. 11:20, we got to get to a break. Robert Mathis in 10 minutes talking about life. College football playoff rankings by me, college football analyst. Feels good to say that. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. No clue why. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. We are live in Indianapolis, Indiana. A couple news stories of the day. The battle for the top of the NFC is heating up. 49ers 8-1, Green Bay 8-2, Saints 7-2, Seattle 8-2, Vikings 7-3. Had Dalvin Cook on in the first hour. Talked about how locker room conversations turned that team around after the public meltdown. That guy's leading the NFL in rushing, by the way. People need to talk about Dalvin Cook a little bit more. He's been incredible. He was good on the show, too, calling us right as he was walking into a team meeting room. All right, now it's time. This is going to get talked about, debated, and contemplated, but please know that this list of college football teams and how they are ranked by me is 100% right down the center. This is as a third-party objective source. I did not allow my personal relationships with some of the teams that are on this list interfere with how I truly feel about college football. I wouldn't do that.
No, of course not.
I wouldn't say, hey, my number 4 team, the Minnesota Gophers. I wouldn't say that strictly because PJ Fleck came on our show last week and this week. I wouldn't say that because he gave a motivational speech to our show that almost made all of us neckton through a wall. I'm saying that because whenever they had the spotlight on them this past weekend against the Penn State Nittany Lions, who were in the top 4, they showed up and played their best game. This is a team that is all in for PJ Fleck. This is an entire state that is ready to go to the church of PJ Fleck. This team has athletes. This team has a right tackle that is 6'9", 400 pounds, hailing from Australia. They have size, they have athleticism, and they're all in. That's tough to beat. When a team is all in, when everybody's rowing the boat in the same direction, you can be an elite team. And the Minnesota Gophers are that. They're undefeated. Sky you ma. Number 3, I have the Clemson Tigers. Rex Ryan had a hilarious quote on Get Up on Monday. He said, PJ Fleck and the Gophers, go on and row your boat right down to Clemson. You get beat by 40. That's hilarious. That's a great quote. Rex Ryan makes me laugh on a very regular occasion. His kid went to Clemson, so he has an affinity for Clemson. And Clemson being out of the top 4 last week was a joke. We all knew that. We all knew that was a joke. To be the man, you got to beat the man. They're the national champions. Trevor Lawrence is just starting to find his groove again. They're starting to pick people apart, and they got athletes all over the place. They're a really good team, going to be in the playoff. Excited to watch them perform again because that national championship game was a thing of beauty. It looked like we were watching an NFL team, and they had a freshman quarterback. Number 2, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. Chase Young suspended what, for 4 games, 2 games, 10 games, 6 games?
4 games as of right now.
Now, he said that all he did was rent money, loan money, or get money to fly his girlfriend to the Rose Bowl. If that's all it was, and he paid it back by cutting lawns or whatever he did to get the money back to pay the person back, I would like it to be known that he should only be out no games. He should be out no games for this. This is the problem with college football. They're starting to turn over a new leaf, right? Allowing players to make money off their likeness, their name, things like that. That's not happening for a couple years. You got to remember, this NCAA as an organization is a very old school organization. So to get any little turn of the page on the amateurism thing, a word that they made up that they used to use as an excuse for everything. Well, why can't Pat White go sign his name and make $20 off that? Amateurism. Well, you can't use a word that you made up to me. Like you can't use a word that you made up to me to be the reason why something can't happen. They're kind of turning a new leaf, or turning over a new leaf, a new page in their mindset towards that with the law that's coming in with the likeness and things like that. Will that hold true for this Chase Young case? The best player on defense in football? I don't think it matters, by the way. Penn State, or Ohio State, Minnesota are on a crash course. And that is not good news for me because I got them both in the top 4 right now. But I like the way the Big Ten is shaping up. Justin Fields is so damn good. They can hang 100 on people if they want to every time if they would like to.
They won 73-14 this weekend, and now they're 52-point favorites coming into this weekend.
That's what I'm saying. And they ran an onside kick that was just a thing of beauty against Maryland where the kicker just blooped it over to their right gunner, or their number 1, not gunner. People say there's a gunner on a kickoff team like I just did. That's not right. That's number 1. I've done that 2 times in my career, both in college and in the NFL. It's a beautiful kick. It's not easy to do. People are like, why'd they waste it against Maryland? Good question. I'm not sure you can do that kick again. That kid's probably very talented, but to do that, to have that connect and have the amount of touch to land it without it going out of bounds or going too low, I mean, that's a beautiful kick. Will they be able to do it again? Probably not. People have to prepare for it, but that's why you do it against a team like Maryland because, if he kicks it out of bounds, it's Maryland. Maryland didn't deserve that. But they are not in my top 600. Number one team. They didn't deserve that either. Number one team is a team that the world fell in love with. Whenever you go to a place like Alabama and get a win on their turf and then rub it in their face, whether it's the players running down to the recruits like, hey, you want to win, come on down to Louisiana. Then breaking down the entire team in the middle of the Alabama football field. And then in the locker room, the stream live that shouldn't happen, obviously, and I don't want the kid to get in trouble, so I didn't reference it yet because I don't want to make that big of a deal of it. But Coach O giving a motivational speech to his team in a celebratory manner saying, roll tide, fornicate you. I love what that team's cooking down there. Joe Burrow is an absolute stud. Absolute stud. He's an athlete, too. Guy was all Ohio or Mr. Basketball in Ohio. Mm-hmm. He can run. He makes good plays. He has good leadership. The team loves him. He's the number one pick in the draft, it feels like. What's that?
When do people start feeling bad for him that he's probably going to have to go play for the Bengals?
Now's that time. Hey, Joe Burrow, enjoy the hell out of this run in the SEC. Enjoy the hell out of that big win against Alabama. Your team looks good. You look like you can make every play. In my eyes, number one team in the country. I assume a lot of people feel that way about you guys. Good for you. It's well-deserved. It's earned. Sucks that you got to go. Go be a bungle. So enjoy this. Not a lot of success coming for the next 3 to 10 years after this season. My last two, 5 and 6, not in, but good football teams. Georgia Bulldogs. I like the way Jake Fromm, State Farm, plays football. I said that on game day during a segment that was brought to you by Geico. Yikes. That's tough. And number 6, my second team that's out, not in. The Baylor Bears. Sick 'em. Got a chance to call their first game where they started this winning streak in the Texas shootout against Texas Tech when Cliff Kingsbury was still a college football coach. Me, A.J. Hawk, Sean Kelly called that thing down in Jerry World. They beat the hell out of Texas Tech that game. Haven't lost since. They've just gone on to win every game. Close games, tough games, tight games. Their big players show up, and in a Big 12 matchup against Oklahoma that's coming is going to determine a lot. If Baylor can remain undefeated in one of the Power 5 conferences, which I think they have the wherewithal to win those close games, they compete down there now. That is a team that gets after it. Coach Rule and his staff get after it down there. If they can continue to win, you got to have them in the conversation. Georgia and Baylor are my two out, my top 4. 1 LSU, 2 Ohio State, 3 Clemson, 4 Minnesota. Debate it, battle it. I'm a college football analyst. You're not. Remember that.
No, you can poke any holes in it.
Can't. How sound is that?
I mean, Baylor, if they win out, they will, because the Big Ten's going to cannibalize itself. One of those teams will be done in the Big Ten championship. If Baylor wins the Big 12 championship, they'll be in.
Undefeated?
Yeah. There's no way you can keep
Want to
them
hear
out.
something funny? I was looking at last week's rankings.
By the way, College Football Playoff Committee would keep them out.
Yeah, they didn't have them in the top 25 last week.
Who?
Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor in the AP is currently 12th. Minnesota's currently 7th. So they have them quite a little bit lower. But a lot of these rankings, I mean, you get so captured by these national television games that happen every single week. You know, the SECs, the powerhouses, a couple ACC games, Big Ten games. Hey, the Big 12 still exists. They got a lot of money and a lot of tradition, a lot of history. I think there's more than 12 schools in there, so that's interesting. But, I mean, it's a very powerful conference that might have lost its luster because of the Oklahoma loss to Kansas State. That kind of hurts the entire Big 12. But Baylor doesn't look like they're losing a game in sight. They look like they're going to continue to get hot. Got them at 6, got Georgia at 5.
Maybe better yet if they win out and don't make it, because then they can institutionalize your playoff format. Because then it's like, you know, well, what winning the Big 12 championship doesn't do anything for
So the
you.
Big 12 doesn't even matter? We know the American Conference doesn't. We know that MAC doesn't. We know that the Pac-12 doesn't in a lot of people's eyes. The Big 12 doesn't matter either? What type of game are we playing if the Big 12 championship means nothing? The Pac-12 championship means nothing. The American Conference championship means nothing in this current formula. The current formula is every game matters until you lose one. Every game matters if you're in a larger conference. I think it's only a matter of time before it's 8 teams that make it into the playoff. 5 champions of the Power 5 and then 3 at-large bids. That can take care of any one-loss teams that you still want to see in there. That can take care of a UCF team that gets hot in the American Conference. Everybody's like, put them in there, put them in there. Bang, here you go. Welcome to the show. You got to play number 1 right now, see how it goes. It would make it easier. More money, more games, more opportunity, much fairer. I think you have to go to 8 games, or 8 teams. 4 games, obviously. Do the math. 2 teams per. Power 5 conference champions, 3 at-large bids.
Hey, also, shout out to the team that started this all off, invited you to training camp. Cincinnati, they only have 1 loss, and it's to Ohio State.
Ooh. Coach Fickle down there and the boys got a real good one. They lost their athletic director in the Bone. The Bone goes to USC.
Did he officially go?
Yeah. Yep. The Bone's a friend of ours. Go for Cincinnati. But those at-large bids, for instance, those are things that they can discuss. Let the old whites in there that are discussing the college football playoff, give them at least an opportunity to make it right with the Power 5 conferences and the 3 at-larges. Because if not, you're always going to get subjective in there. You're always going to have personalities and people that like things more than other things. If the Big 12 champion goes undefeated and doesn't get in, there's a problem. Not only with college football, but with the Big 12, who's been selling a dream to a lot of people for a long time. I mean, remember, WVU, the Big East left. The Big East collapses. WVU goes to the Big 12 because they're told, hey, you can win a championship here. That's why. Baylor goes undefeated in the Big 12 and doesn't get in. That would be tough to explain. 11:35. There's my top 4 with my 2 at large. The current AP is LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon. We have a couple of differences. They got Alabama. I got Minnesota.
Tuscaloosa is not going to be happy with your list.
Don't worry, Alabama. Ohio State and Minnesota still have to play each other. And when that happens, we'll move the tide right on up that list. Nick Saban's already talking about, hey, we're just going to play the game. We've already not won our conference one time and won the national championship. No problem at all. We'll see. Alabama's damn good. Tua's not healthy, though. I'll be intrigued to see how they play.
Wait until, if this happens, Georgia beats LSU in the SEC championship, and then it's Alabama, LSU, and Georgia all with 1 loss.
Alabama, LSU, Georgia, and Clemson make it into the Final Four.
People would love that.
Love it. In the Southeastern Conference, 11:36. We'll be back on the other side. You listen to the Pat McAfee Show.
Fair Todd, first and foremost. What?
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It's 11:43. There's 10 seconds for some station identification at the beginning there, Zito.
What do you mean?
Well, you
We
just
gotta
yelled,
identify ourselves.
You just yelled over some local guy like, you're listening to the Pat McAfee Show on WRCA in San Antonio or something like that. Your bear died like that, first and foremost. If you're watching at home, if you're watching on the internet, Foxy just put up an entire highlight reel of Matt Stafford photos. Just want to keep him a topic of conversation, Foxy, or
I just ran out of packages, and I thought that was a good one to play.
Okay, well,
I was any Bears ones in there.
Kind of pulled your package, put it out on the table there. Okay, it's time for a segment that is sweeping the globe. Zito Facts, I believe is what we're calling it.
Yes, sir. Hashtag Zito Facts. All right. I have two for you. I'm going to have you decide which one you want.
Okay.
The one is about balls talk. And the other one is about Alaska. What would you rather have?
When you talk about balls, are we talking about soccer, football, basket?
Yeah, not the sexual ones.
Balls are more than just sexual things.
Yeah,
I believe. Geez, it's a sports show.
It's a sexual organ.
Reproductive organ.
It is a part of a reproductive organ. I would like to go with the balls.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Pull it on the screen right here. A ball of glass will bounce higher than a ball of rubber. Who knew? Back to you, Pat.
That's not true. There's just no way that is.
I couldn't find a glass ball anywhere, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty true.
Isn't a ball of glass going to shatter?
It says if it doesn't shatter, it'll go higher. Because
where do you find these facts at?
Snapple Tops.
Now, if we were to Google, are Snapple Tops accurate? What would the answer be for that?
That's a fact coming soon.
Oh, that's a fact coming soon on if Snapple facts are an actual fact. Take that to the bank. Do that around the water cooler. Another segment that we've put in here strictly because we've been told to add segments so that they can get them sponsored because that's what radio shows do. Notable news from Nick. Nick, what did we miss today?
What did you miss? Okay, defensive lineman Michael Bennett said his trade to the Dallas Cowboys did not include a conversation with owner and general manager Jerry Jones regarding standing for the national anthem.
Okay, so either Michael Bennett had a change of heart or he went to Dallas and just found out, okay, this ain't the way things roll down here with Jerry Jones. I think a lot of good has come from those who kneeled from the national anthem, by the way, not only financially, but situational awareness and conversation. Good for Michael Bennett, good for the Dallas Cowboys. And he's doing well for them, by the way. He's been a welcomed addition, I'd assume, to the Dallas Cowboys, not only locker room, but the field. And Jerry Jones not having a conversation with him. I wonder if it was another Jones, like the one that cleans his glasses up there in the building.
I'm not buying it.
Because, by the way, whenever you say, I did not have a conversation with Jerry Jones about that, that is technically a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
Technically a true statement. It's like whenever I was playing for the Columbus Crew a little bit there during the lockout, they weren't allowed to talk to us. A third party who just so happened to know somebody in the building called me and said, hey, I was told that this lockout isn't going to last forever, and don't hurt yourself playing soccer. And I was like, who told you that? He's like, I was just told that. And I was like, yeah, but who could that have been? I was just told that. I was like, is that Bill Polian telling you that? He's like, I can't tell you, but I was told that. I'm like, okay, so that message came from somebody. Go on, Diggs.
There's a headline here on Pro Football Talk. It says Michael Bennett is standing for anthem at teammates' request. So maybe Jerry just went to someone on the team and said, why don't you guys talk to him?
Now, remember, when the kneeling thing was happening, Jerry Jones kneeled before the national anthem in the middle of the field, got a lot of conversation, and stood up for the national anthem. Either way, Michael Bennett has been a good fit for the Cowboys. Did not expect that. Good for him. He's back wearing hockey pads.
Dwayne Haskins has been named the starter for the rest of the season for the Washington Redskins.
Don't think it matters.
Who cares?
I don't think it matters. I mean, that organization, although Bruce Allen thinks they have a good culture, actually, we have a pretty good culture. That guy's wrong. They could be more lost. Dwayne Haskins kind of lost me, and he was charging people to go to his draft party, which I guess I should respect because he's an entrepreneur. But everything has told me whenever he wasn't near the QBs during the first part of the season when he wasn't starting, I'll be excited to see how that fares. I would assume the Redskins stink with him and stink without him. That's not his fault. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, though, when they bring in a new coach, probably a new GM, and are they going to want Dwayne Haskins? What if Dwayne Haskins gets moved after his first year after being a first-round draft pick?
Rosen situation. That's what happened with Rosen.
It is a Rosen situation. Look for draft day, potential Haskins. Or does Haskins come out and light the world on fire for the Washington Redskins?
Oh, you know, it'd be awesome if Joe Burrow replaced Dwayne Haskins in Washington and he didn't beat him out at Ohio State.
World coming full circle for the Burrow.
What better way to protect your franchise rookie quarterback by basically not admitting that your franchise left tackle has cancer and just not doing anything about it? Just making sure he can't play.
These are facts.
It's a
These are
wise
things
move.
that happen. Withheld his salary, too.
Yeah.
Yikes.
You're fine.
What's his name? Schneider?
Yes, Dan.
Dan Snyder, yeah.
That guy. I just think he lives in a bubble, does not have a clue what everybody – there's no way he can exist in a world that knows what everybody says about his decision-making. There's no way. He has to just have this, bubble boy around him where he just doesn't hear anything. He gets in a car. He only puts on Redskins network radio or Redskins this, goes home. That's the only thing that's on television. Because he makes decisions sometimes that the entire world hates and goes, that's wrong. And he goes, I'll just keep it moving. Our team stinks, but I'm making millions.
Yeah, when you're wiping your ass with hundos, it must be easy to swallow that.
Anything else?
In an attempt to stamp down on competitive pressure on the platform, Instagram is testing a feature that will remove likes for some users in the U.S. this week.
I hate it. Hate everything about it. We've become a non-competitive society, even whenever it comes to competing about numbers. What, people are going to feel bad because they don't have any likes? Well, make better content. That's the only thing that you can really tell is if your thing works or not. For us, for a social media business, I've said this before, whenever you see something that gets a lot of likes, it's like, oh, hey, here's a tip. If you would like to do well on this platform, this is probably more of the stuff you should put. Instagram already doesn't have a retweet option inside of the platform. You have to download the repost app to spread other people's stuff. So it's already hard enough to grow. Let alone if you're not getting a heads up on what people like and what they don't like, you're doing people a disservice. When you think you're helping them out and protecting them from failure, which is going to happen in life, really on the flip side, you're setting them up for more failure in a life of completely irrelevance when nobody gives a single damn about the post about your dog that you've done 45 times in a row, gotten 0 likes whenever people would know, got 0 looks whenever people don't know. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. Not everybody gets a trophy. Unless you play in the world today.
Or run a marathon.
All I know is
Or finish the marathon.
The CEO of Instagram
tough look.
loves infidelity.
What was that?
The bank?
He loves infidelity.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, you get rid of likes, and you also get rid of the thing that shows that you follow someone or you like someone's picture or something like that.
You think the CEO is strictly doing this so that his wife or lady or man or husband can't see the action that the CEO is doing on the internet?
1,000%.
So think about, these are humans making decisions about human stuff. That's the deep dive that Diggs does that nobody else would do. That's why our show's better. Anything else?
Disney Plus launches today.
Let's go.
Do they have 7 billion subscribers yet? It's $7.99.
Cheap.
Apparently, a lot of issues with it crashing.
Many
Well, that happens.
issues.
That's
People
good.
unable
People-
to sign
that's-
in.
that's-
Content not available.
Yeah,
That's a good thing, though.
Nah, I don't think it's a good thing.
It's Disney. People be in there. That was Medellin or whatever. What's the
Mandalorian?
Oh, the Mandalorian. Yeah.
Is that big? Is that big for you Star Wars people?
Oh, my
Is
God.
it a full
Yeah,
movie?
it looks good.
No, it's a
series.
John
Okay.
Favreau's in charge of it. It looks good.
If I've never watched a single Star Wars, will I be able to watch that and understand?
yeah, jump
You're
on
supposed to be able to because it's supposed to be like a spaghetti or not spaghetti, a western set in the Star Wars time frame, but you'll probably hate it.
What
All
did
right.
you confuse spaghetti and western with?
Just a western.
SpaghettiOs.
I mean, I guess you could call it a spaghetti
Hey,
western.
SpaghettiOs used to be heaters back in the
Oh,
day.
so good. They changed the recipe.
Stupid. They changed the recipe to Cocoa Puffs, too. I found that out last night.
Yep.
Jarrett from Green Bay, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
Jarrett, what's going on, bub?
Oh, you know,
Oh!
the boys are loving. The boys are loving Lambeau, and they're celebrating. And Jamal Williams doesn't even listen to what reporters are saying anymore. Aaron Rodgers said he loves the cold. What advantage does the cold give them when playing at home?
Well, that's an interesting thing. Playing at home in Lambeau, not only is it the mystique of Lambeau the first time you're there, it's an eye-opening experience, but when you're used to playing in frigid temperatures, it just helps out. Those teams in the South, now granted, you got some guys from the North and things like that, but when you get some Florida boys and Texas boys up in the frigid weather, that can affect some things, especially on the D-line, O-line, those types of positions that really matter. When it's cold, things hurt more, and if you're a Green Bay Packer, now, we talked about this today. It's very cold in Indianapolis right now. Mm-hmm. And I go, ooh, I'm cold. And sometimes whenever I'm around somebody from the South, they're like, you grew up in Pittsburgh, aren't you used to it? Yeah, we're used to it, but we're also sick of it. The Green Bay Packers players still have to deal with it as well. It's just more so you're used to it. You can still be sick of it, but you're still used to it. Let's go Jamie in Nebraska. You got to worry about Nebraska.
Hey, man.
going
Hey, I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs taking over the AFC West. Let me tell you something. The Chiefs have already beat the Ravens, and we're coming up with the Chargers next, and they just took a loss. Phillip Rivers looks terrible. Now, let me tell you, MVP Patrick Mahomes is still running this thing over here in the AFC. What do you think?
You lost to the entire AFC South. You lost to the entire AFC South. Indianapolis Colts, Texans, and Titans, the Chiefs did. With Patrick, no.
Yeah. This would have been a good take like a couple weeks ago, but right now it just doesn't make as much
With
sense.
Patrick Mahomes. I like Patrick Mahomes. I think he's very good. I think he's very talented. That offense is awesome. But for some reason, they can't win games that they need to win. Did they beat the Ravens already? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is that before that Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson were figuring each other out?
That was one of the weeks he threw like 47 times.
Because he thought he was Mahomes.
I like the Chiefs. I think they're very good. They have a lot of talent. ESPN has them at number 9. They just lose all the time. Tone Gordon, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? I was going to ask you, so like with all the quarterback talk and everybody tried to think to get the number one pick to get a new quarterback, franchise quarterback, you've already talked about Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. 3 different types of quarterbacks. You got your like boring, slow and steady, going to get the job done. Russell Wilson's going to be like a little flash in the pan, but mostly boring. And then Lamar Jackson, a physical anomaly, doing everything. What kind of quarterback would you look for to start your franchise?
Great question, Tone. I appreciate that. If you have a Tom Brady available, you take him. If you have a Lamar Jackson available, you take him. And if there's a Deshaun Watson out there, you go ahead and pick him up as well. I don't know. I think it's all situations or situational. For me, Joe Burrow seems to be the most NFL-ready guy. Seems to have the moxie, the composure, the ability to make all the throws. For me, it feels like he's the most NFL-ready guy. But don't put it past Chase Young being the number 1 overall pick. Nick Bosa completely changed the dynamic of that 49ers team. But I like Joe Burrow. Great question, Tone. We appreciate you too, bub. Shane in Columbus, last one. We got like 30 seconds.
Hello?
Oh, Shane.
Come
That's
on, Shane.
Shane. Just had to hang up on him. It's been a great Tuesday. Should have texted Mathis and reminded him he was supposed to come in today. We'll get him on another day, I assume, I hope. He's a legend. He's got a lot going on. He's coaching the Colts, running his own business. That's on me, not on him. For myself, Nick, Diggs, Ty, Jason, Zito, Foxy, and Todd, we can't thank you enough. We have no idea what's next. We hope it's better than our show. This has been the Pat McAfee Show.